After single-handedly saving the world from total annihilation, Kang Ho should have been living like an absolute legend. But instead of chasing fame, he ghosted society, vanishing into the unforgiving, frozen wasteland far from the modern world. To the outside world, he was just a crazy guy throwing his life away in a monster-infested hellscape, but Kang Ho had a desperate reason to stay. He was guarding a miracle he refused to give up on, that is, until an old friend named Shim suddenly tracked him down with chilling news. Unidentified monster variants were swarming around Busan and Daegu, forcing the retired hero to finally open his eyes. The mere mention of these creatures sent shivers down their spines, because freaks of nature like this had not been seen since the Great War. But the real tragedy keeping Kang Ho chained to this lonely wasteland cut so much deeper. Decades ago, during humanity's darkest hour, he fought back-to-back with his majestic beast partner, Siola. Together, they slaughtered endless waves of demonic enemies. Kang Ho bought humanity's survival, but the price was his ultimate companion. Shattered by her sacrifice, he anchored himself to the freezing snow, desperately guarding the glowing blue egg Siola left behind. Tonight marked exactly 30 agonizing years since his best friend passed away. As midnight approached, glowing snow fairies fluttered down from the sky, silently joining the lonely hero for the New Year countdown. The second the clock struck 12 a.m., an overwhelming aura pulsed through the air. The dormant egg violently flared with brilliant blue light. Crack! The shell shattered completely. Kang Ho stopped breathing as a tiny, majestic creature, holding Seolwa's exact energy, crawled out into the snow. Nostalgia crashed over him like a tidal wave, instantly transporting him back to these exact same snowfields 50 years ago. Back then, a much younger Kang Ho was desperately sprinting for his life from a massive monster horde when fate brought them together. Surrounded by absolute carnage, he was completely mesmerized by the divine beauty of the mythical beast. Snapping back to reality, the newborn miracle was finally awake. The tiny snow fox immediately leaped onto his shoulder, affectionately nuzzling his tear-stained cheek. A warm smile broke across his scarred face. He instantly knew the legendary baby beast was claiming him as her master. He gently stroked her soft fur, whispering how much she looked like her legendary mother, but a sudden shadow overhead shattered the wholesome moment. Kang Ho's beast eye flared with glowing energy as he scanned the flying creatures. His system window confirmed they were undocumented mutants, though their combat stats were absolute garbage. Shim's terrifying warning about new monster variants instantly echoed in his mind. The timing was way too perfect. Was his companion's rebirth somehow connected to this sudden mutant outbreak? Refusing to stay blind, our hero fast travels straight to the apex of Korea's top 3 mercenary guilds, the towering mercenary headquarters. Bypassing security completely, Kang Ho dramatically crashes onto the rooftop riding a massive saber-toothed tiger named Mong Chi. The rookie guard absolutely lost his mind. He frantically radioed his captain, screaming that an S-rank demonic beast was invading the helipad. He was practically crying for tactical backup when his captain calmly slapped his shoulder. The veteran casually quoted Article 3, Paragraph 1, from their highly classified emergency manual. The secret protocol clearly stated, if a young man arrives riding a prehistoric death cat, he is the VIP friend of the guild chairman and must be treated like royalty. The captain ordered the trembling rookie to unlock the VIP gates instantly. The terrified guard's jaw dropped. He finally realized those legendary guild myths were not just ghost stories meant to scare the newbies. Hopping off his majestic ride, Kang Ho strictly ordered Mongchi not to eat anybody, tossing him a heavy head pat as a bribe before heading inside. The captain respectfully bowed down to the living legend, quickly confirming the chairman was in his office. Stepping into the luxurious penthouse, Kang Ho's eyes landed on a faded photograph, capturing their glory days during the apocalypse. The heavy oak doors swung open, revealing a battle-scarred elder. It was none other than the man from the picture, Lim Chul-bei, one of humanity's legendary 5 heroes, universally feared as the almighty Iron Fist King. Seeing his old war buddy alive, the massive powerhouse literally leaped into Kang Ho's arms like an excited kid. Kang Ho instantly roasted him, pointing at the mountain of expensive liquor flooding the office. Chul-bei just laughed, claiming that since their bones were turning to dust, they needed high-tier alcohol just to keep their spirits alive. Kang Ho shook his head, lecturing the old man about maintaining his vitality before his aging heart gave out. Right in the middle of their hilarious boomer banter, the tiny snow fox peeked her adorable head out of Kang Ho's jacket. The Iron Fist King froze in absolute shock, his jaw hitting the floor as he pointed at the fluff ball. He stammered, asking if this miracle was actually Siola's descendant. Kang Ho proudly smirked, confirming the ultimate hatching and introducing her as Siola. Chul-bei immediately caught on. This sly hero just came here to flex his legendary new pet. He aggressively grabbed the bottle, declaring a mandatory drinking session to celebrate. Kang Ho surrendered to the hype with a sigh. The two legends absolutely destroyed the alcohol stash, downing glass after glass until the mood shifted. Dropping the jokes, Kang Ho's aura turned razor sharp. He confessed he came looking for critical intel. The Iron Fist King immediately sobered up, leaning in as Kang Ho revealed his recent encounter with the Disaster Bureau and the terrifying mutated monsters spawning out of nowhere. Chulbai's face darkened with dread. He admitted his massive guild was currently drowning in the exact same nightmare. One of their elite rankers, deployed to secure the southern conflict zone, had just vanished without a trace. And for a high-tier ranker to get wiped out so silently, Chulbai slammed his fist on the desk. The puzzle pieces were connecting, and it was screaming one horrifying truth. A catastrophic threat was secretly rising from the shadows. With bizarre new monster variants spawning left and right, Chulbai drops a massive bombshell. Some of these twisted creatures are practically oozing pure demonic energy. That single phrase instantly hooks Kang Ho's attention. Why? Because that exact same dark aura fueled the nightmare-inducing beasts back during the legendary Great Daybreak War. Whenever that sinister energy infected a monster, their predatory instincts skyrocketed to absolute maximum overdrive, turning them into unimaginable killing machines. And pulling the strings behind that ancient apocalypse was Majin, a supreme entity who weaponized that demonic corruption to catastrophic levels. A cold dread washes over Kang Ho as he visualizes the absolute worst-case scenario, the return of those apocalyptic beasts. But Chulbai quickly shifts the heavy mood. He proudly flexes his brand-new world ranking, sitting comfortably at number 40. Not to mention, he just secured the number 6 spot in all of South Korea. Kang Ho gives him a smirk, playfully praising the old man for still holding his ground in this cutthroat era. But Chulbai instantly waves off the compliment. He grumbles about the brutal reality of inflation, complaining that the cost of living is skyrocketing right as his hard-earned rank starts to slip. Suddenly, the veteran hunter gets a mischievous idea, begging Kang Ho for a quick magic power measurement before they part ways. He eagerly brags about his own mana level hitting 14,000. Kang Ho flat-out rejects the offer, completely unimpressed by the idea of a flashy measuring contest. But Chulbai cranks up the guilt trip to max level, eventually breaking down Kang Ho's defenses. Reluctantly, our overpowered main character slides his wrist into the high-tech measuring bracelet. Following Chulbai's eager instructions, he channels a fraction of his mana into the artifact. Instantly, the machine hums to life, flashing biometric lasers to lock onto his identity. The moment his profile clicks, the digital display absolutely explodes, calculating his raw combat power at a staggering 120,000. The system immediately recalculates the global leaderboards based on this insane number, officially crowning him as the undisputed number 1 in the entire world. Chulbai practically loses his mind, his jaw hitting the floor as he desperately demands to know what kind of godly training Kang Ho has been doing hidden away in the freezing snowfields. With a straight face, Kang Ho casually claims he has just been farming crops and raising his pet, Mengqi. Fast forward to his actual daily life, and we get a look at his personal domain, Orchard. This pint-sized dungeon sits right in Kang Ho's backyard, acting as his private sanctuary. It earned the wholesome name Orchard for a very specific reason. The entire zone is packed to the brim with magical fruit trees, radiating an aura that actively mutates and empowers any beast dwelling within its borders. For an absolute legend known as the Beast King, this garden is the ultimate cheat code. But there is only one ultra-rare material capable of leveling up this sanctuary, the mythical fairy stone. Reaching into his inventory, Kang Ho pulls out a massive, glowing gemstone that he recently scored as a quest reward. The second he buries that radiant crystal into the soil, a blinding shockwave of pure life force erupts across the entire territory. Even our overpowered hero is left speechless by the crazy visual upgrade. The magical fruits instantly illuminate the grove, while tiny fairies dance through the air in absolute bliss. The resident Galogs literally double in size right before his eyes, flexing their newly awakened muscle mass. Siola bounds through the grass, excitedly charging toward the giant beasts. While the hyperactive fox celebrates the massive level-up party, Kang Ho quietly activates his Beast Eye skill to scan her hidden potential. The system window pops up, revealing an insanely rare double S-tier rank, but her actual attack and combat specs are stuck at absolute rock-bottom double F tier. But here is the crazy part. Both her unique skills and future potential are completely blacked out by mysterious question marks. Kang Ho narrows his eyes, shocked to discover she belongs to an unidentified, glitched-out subspecies. Without warning, Siola whips her head around, her ears twitching before she bolts out of the cabin like a literal lightning bolt. Kang Ho frowns, sensing a sudden shift in the atmosphere. Realizing her primal instincts must have picked up on an intruder, he immediately launches himself after her into the wild. Despite her blazing speed, our main character effortlessly bridges the gap. Together, they dive straight off a rocky cliff, landing right in the middle of a desperate hostage situation. A pack of low-tier monsters has cornered a group of helpless earth spirits. Without a second of hesitation, Siola throws herself into the front line, standing like a fierce guardian shielding the tiny spirits. Kang Ho watches in stunned silence, deeply moved by his tiny companion's fearless drive to protect the weak. But the heartwarming moment shatters as a massive A-rank serpent slithers from the shadows. Kang Ho quickly calculates the power gap, realizing this boss monster is way above Siola's current pay grade. The system identifies the colossal nightmare as a titanoboa, an apex predator capable of crushing bones into pure dust. Time to show them who really rules this mountain. Kang Ho instantly unleashes his overpowered Beastmaster innate ability, Predatory Instinct. This divine-tier skill casts a terrifying illusion, forcing every monster in the vicinity to view him as the undisputed, bloodthirsty god of the food chain. The giant Titanoboa completely freezes, violent tremors shaking its massive scales. Moving faster than sound, Kang Ho snatches the beast right by its forked tongue, delivering a chilling death threat. He flat-out promises to brew the mythical snake into a jar of medicinal wine if it ever dares to cross his borders again. Staring into its terrified eyes, he demands absolute submission. The apex predator desperately nods its giant head, completely broken by his overwhelming aura. Dropping his voice to a demonic growl, Kang Ho orders the entire horde to scram. Like a puff of smoke, the monster pack scatters in pure terror. But amidst the chaotic retreat, his sharp eyes lock onto a lone raptor, lurking in the distant shadows. Pitch black, suffocating demonic energy aggressively bleeds from the creature's scales. Kang Ho flashes his scanner, only to find the beast's actual combat specs are suspiciously garbage. Sensing the dark corruption, Siola zeroes in on the target and blitzes after the raptor. Kang Ho shadows her every move, tracing the beast straight toward an ominous, glowing rift. The pulsing portal confirms his worst suspicions. That corrupted dinosaur definitely leaked out of this newly spawned dungeon gate. Closing the distance, a massive red flag goes off in his head. The entire environment is practically choking on thick, poisonous, demonic miasma, trailing from the monster. Throwing caution to the wind, the duo dives headfirst into the vortex. The second their boots hit the dungeon floor, a spine-chilling wave of pure, unfiltered evil crashes down on Kang Ho's senses. But the dark energy triggers an insane reaction. Right before his eyes, Siola undergoes a majestic evolution, sprouting a glowing second tail. Kang Ho instantly pulls up her system interface to decipher this game-changing transformation. Kang Ho watches in absolute awe. Thanks to her newly awakened tail, Siola's growth rate is glitching the system, scaling 1.5 times faster than any normal magical beast. Suddenly, the dark aura shifts. 3 corrupted raptors burst through the mist, dripping with pure demonic energy. Unfazed, Siola simply tilts her head, asking if she can go play with the scary doggies. Looking at her innocent eyes, Kang Ho feels a massive wave of nostalgia. She is exactly like Siola. Flashbacks of his past training days hit him hard. He and Siola had conquered countless battlefields together. But that legendary run ended in absolute tragedy when he lost his closest partner. Traumatized by that grief, Kang Ho swore he would raise Siola safely, far away from the bloodshed. But fate clearly has a twisted sense of humor. Siola is an absolute battle junkie, born with fighting instincts coded into her very DNA. Denying her true nature would just be him acting incredibly selfish. So, instead of clipping her wings, Kang Ho makes a massive decision. It is time to forge a soul contract. He gently rests his hand on her fluffy head. He makes a silent vow, promising to turn her into the most overpowered beast in existence. The moment his palm connects, an overwhelming surge of pure mana erupts. The blinding light spirals around them, twisting together until it solidifies into a glowing ring right on Kang Ho's finger. This is not just any accessory. It is a sacred Master Beast contract ring, the ultimate proof of their unbreakable bond. Knowing her tiny body cannot handle massive spells yet, Kang Ho decides to funnel a massive dose of his own mana straight into her system. As the blue aura surrounds her, he gives the ultimate green light. He tells her to go absolutely crazy, and Siola instantly launches herself at the demonic raptors like a guided missile. As his little terror closes the gap, Kang Ho immediately pops his Beastmaster innate ability. He activates sensory transfer. In a split second, their minds perfectly sync up. They are now sharing eyesight, mana flow, and physical reflexes. Kang Ho basically becomes her tactical co-pilot, feeding her the exact combat data she needs. He dictates the perfect dot timings, blind spot maneuvers, and the exact microsecond to land a critical strike. Under his flawless shot calling, Siola completely styles on the first raptor, pinning it to the dirt. With the beast totally helpless, she triggers her overwhelm skill. It acts like a massive vacuum, instantly purging the corrupt demonic energy straight out of the raptor's system. She easily repeats this insane cleansing combo on the other two, Kang Ho is left totally speechless. Her combat agility is completely off the charts. Once the dust finally settles and the raptors are completely pacified, a system notification pops up. Siola's attack stat literally jumped from rank F to rank E. Kang Ho is totally mind-blown that a single skirmish triggered a stat evolution. He immediately calls his little warrior back. She bounds over, practically begging for head pats, asking if she totally crushed it. Kang Ho chuckles and tells her she was absolutely perfect. But the celebration has to wait. The dungeon gate is literally on the verge of collapsing. Kang Ho quickly shouts at the groggy raptors, ordering them to snap out of it and run for their lives. But instead of panicking, Siola starts playing tag with them. Kang Ho suddenly realizes a hilarious fact. As long as something is not dripping with demonic energy, Siola instantly claims them as her new bestie. But this is seriously not the time for a playdate. He screams at his entire chaotic squad to move their feet. The whole gang bolts toward the glowing exit, barely diving through the portal right before it snaps shut. Kang Ho is literally gasping for air on the outside when a chorus of tiny, super cheerful voices suddenly echoes out of nowhere, giving him a massive welcome party. They keep bowing and calling him the Absolute One. Kang Ho just stands there, totally frozen and intensely confused about why he suddenly has a fan club. The little earth spirits then turn their hype towards Siola, respectfully addressing her as the legendary Silver White Fang. Kang Ho shakes off the massive headache this is causing, and zooms in on the leader of the spirits. He casually asks if she is using some sort of high-tier translation magic to speak human text. But before she can even answer, he drops the real question. He demands to know why they keep calling his fluffy sidekick a Silver White Fang. The spirit gasps, totally shocked that this divine creature just has a regular pet name. She drops some massive lore, explaining that back in their home dimension, the White Fangs are literally worshipped as immortal guardian deities who have protected their lands since the dawn of time. But even among these absolute legends, the silver-coated ones are a totally different breed. The spirit leader explains that they boast insanely overpowered combat stats, while carrying the purest hearts. She mentions an epic tale where a 5-tailed silver fang completely soloed a massive corpse dragon to save their entire kingdom. To the earth spirits, these silver variants are straight out of ancient mythology. So, seeing Kang Ho casually carrying this mythical god-tier beast like a regular puppy absolutely blew their minds. To them, he must be a literal deity, hence the title Absolute One. They get so hyped that they start performing a synchronized worship dance for him. While they are busy busting out their little moves, Kang Ho squints and notices a tiny, glowing crown sitting on the chatty spirit's head. It clicks instantly that she is clearly the boss. He casually asks if she is the royalty around here. The second those words leave his mouth, the queen completely panics. She starts sweating profusely, absolutely terrified because she thinks the Absolute One has god-level mind-reading skills. Kang Ho internally facepalms. He literally just looked at the crown on her head, but honestly, he is way too exhausted to correct their crazy misunderstandings. Taking a deep breath, the Spirit Queen explains the massive tragedy that hit them. Their peaceful territory was forcefully mutated into a twisted dungeon. The shockwave knocked her completely unconscious. When her eyes finally fluttered open, she was totally stranded in this weird, unfamiliar world. She nervously admits that they have been stuck here for 3 entire days. Before she can awkwardly explain their most desperate problem, Kang Ho takes one look at their miserable faces and guesses they are literally starving to death. The queen aggressively nods, practically crying tears of joy that the all-knowing Absolute One instantly recognized their supreme suffering. Letting out a tired sigh, Kang Ho decides to toss them a massive lifeline. He casually mentions an Earth Spirit-themed dungeon called Orchard, located right around the corner from his house. He casually drops the bomb that they can crash at the orchard permanently if they want. Without missing a beat, the Earth Spirits throw an absolute festival. They immediately start bowing and worshipping Kang Ho like a literal god. Before things get way too weird, he begs them to cut the extreme formalities. He seriously wonders if every fairy tale princess acts like this, because their queen keeps dropping to her knees like a humble maid. Moments later, Monk Chi rolls up like a massive, fluffy Uber ride. The Earth Spirits cling to the beast's fur, and Kang Ho tells everyone to brace themselves as they tear through the freezing plains. Later on, Kang Ho's phone blows up with a new group chat notification. It turns out Chulbei finally pulled the 5 legendary war heroes into one massive group text. The chat literally explodes the second Kang Ho joins the server. But out of nowhere, Sword God Junwoo and Bow God Ho Young start throwing digital punches over who packs the biggest punch. In the blink of an eye, these two absolute powerhouses schedule a real-life deathmatch to settle the debate. Honestly, Kang Ho isn't even slightly fazed by the chaos, because this is exactly how these two meatheads have operated since day one. The moment they lock eyes, they start throwing down like petty toddlers. But even though they act like total idiots, they are still his ride-or-die comrades who bled beside him during the Great War. Since 15 long years have passed, Kang-ho realizes it is finally time to crash their party and see those familiar faces. On top of that, he is dead set on evolving Siola into the ultimate beast, and to make that happen, he needs to secure the absolute best training environment for her. Cut to the designated battlefield, where the sword god and the bow god stare each other down at the mountain peak. The entire mountain is swarming with hyped-up spectators dying to see the clash. Even the paparazzi have swarmed the scene to broadcast the chaos. Everyone wants a front-row seat to this epic ranking battle. Right now, the sword god Junwoo flexes his status at number 20 in the global rankings. Meanwhile, the bow god Ho Yang breathes right down his neck at rank 21. But just as the tension reaches a boiling point, Flame Witch Mina, another legendary hero, steps onto the scene, radiating pure boss energy. Shockingly, she still looks wildly young for her age, sharing that same timeless vibe as Kang-ho. The crowd completely loses their minds the second she steps into the spotlight. Mina immediately starts roasting the two boomers, asking how long they plan on throwing these legendary tantrums. Like, are they seriously not exhausted by now? But even with Mina spitting facts, these two stubbornly refuse to back down from the bloodbath. They are fully committed to beating some sense into each other. Both are blindly confident in their own victory, and Mina just sighs, realizing their toxic traits haven't changed one bit. So, Mina officially stamps the duel as a recognized ranking match, stepping up as the ultimate guarantor to keep things legit. But right before the first strike, Mina senses an incredibly familiar presence slipping into the arena. It is none other than Kang-ho himself. He touches down quietly behind the massive crowd to avoid stealing the spotlight, but nothing gets past Mina's radar. Smirking, she turns back to the two muscleheads. She casually suggests that they might want to cancel their little playground scrap, but the dynamic duo fiercely refuses to tap out. So Mina hits them with the ultimate reality check. She asks if they are really brave enough to throw a tantrum while Kang-ho is watching. The second that name drops, they snap their necks to the back of the crowd. Instantly, their killing intent vanishes into thin air. They are incredibly hyped to see their old captain, but they are totally baffled by the tiny furball chilling on his head. Kang-ho flashes a grin and tells Siola they are about to grab dinner with his chaotic veteran squad, and he promises her that it is going to be an insanely entertaining night. It turns out that after Junwoo retired as the massive White Knight guild leader, he built a specialized medium-tier guild, tucked away near Bukhansan Mountain, purely to forge the next generation of monsters. Junwoo then drags Kang-ho down to his sacred medicinal vault. He proudly flexes his ultra-rare stash of moon salts. This stuff is literal magic powder that permanently supercharges a herb monster's mana core. It is insanely rare and costs a fortune on the black market. Siola instantly zeroes in on the shiny snacks and goes in for a giant chomp. But Kang-ho catches her mid-bite, gently reminding her that this is not how you consume premium loot, completely melting over Siola's overwhelming cuteness. Junwoo tells Kang-ho to just wipe out the entire moon salt supply, anything to help the little furball reach her ultimate form. Meanwhile, Ho Yang is pacing around outside like a madman, absolutely losing his patience. He screams at Kang-ho to just rob the whole vault already. But Junwoo casually waves it off, swearing he is more than happy to sponsor Kang-ho's entire journey. Kang-ho gives Junwoo a genuine nod of respect for the epic loot drop. Junwoo just laughs and tells him to visit the hideout more often if he is really that thankful. Suddenly, Ho Yang crashes the moment, shouting that they have already stockpiled a mountain of alcohol to completely destroy their livers tonight, making up for 15 years of lost time. Junwoo is totally on board, mostly because he heard rumors about Kang-ho's legendary drinking bender with Chul-bae. Kang-ho immediately chooses violence, brutally roasting the two men by asking why they look like actual grandpas, while he and Chul-bae barely aged a day. The two veterans immediately dodge the emotional damage, changing the subject and demanding that the drinking festival commence. Fast forward to the next morning, Kang-ho struts straight into the massive soul bank. The second his foot crosses the threshold, the panicked clerk bows at a perfect 90-degree angle. Sweating bullets, the clerk begs to personally escort the VIP to the private lounge. Kang-ho sighs and tells the guy to stop groveling like a peasant, explaining that he just came to withdraw his mountain of mana stones. Siola tilts her head in pure confusion, squeaking to ask what these shiny rocks are even for. He gently pats Siola, explaining that in the human world, these magical rocks are just the absolute bankroll they need to go on a massive shopping spree. The trembling clerk quickly reassures Kang-ho that his legendary stone vault remains completely untouched, locked away safely just like the old days. The bank manager practically begs him to use the VIP perks however he wants. Business concluded. Kang-ho strolls toward the exit. Lurking in the shadows, a street rat on a bike locks eyes on our boy. He watches the bank staff bowing 90 degrees to Kang-ho, who is literally just wearing street clothes. Of course, this clueless thug assumes the VIP treatment is actually for the corporate suit standing next to our main character. Greed takes over, and the scout powers up his mana detection lens. This high-tech gadget basically acts like X-ray vision. It scans straight through objects to reveal exact mana grades and power levels. The digital readout immediately locks onto the guy in the suit. It pings 2 C-grade and 3 D-grade mana crystals glowing inside his fancy briefcase. The thug instantly rolls his eyes. That kind of low-tier loot is barely worth his time. Half-heartedly, he shifts his lens over to Kang Ho's casual jacket, but his jaw drops. 3 blinding S-grade mana stones are just casually chilling in his pocket. And that is not all. 2 A-grade and 5 B-grade stones are packed in there too. The street rat absolutely loses his mind. Kang Ho is literally walking around with 1.6 billion in raw cash. Acting like it is spare change, sweating bullets, the scout scans Kang Ho's personal power level, terrified he might be an S-rank hunter. But the screen flashes a big fat 0. With no mana reading at all, this total amateur assumes Kang Ho is just a powerless, non-awakened civilian. Watching our overpowered hero casually stroll down the street without a single bodyguard, the thug smirks. He thinks he just found the ultimate walking ATM. He instantly dials up his syndicate boss, hyping up the absolute jackpot he just stumbled upon. Whispering into his earpiece, he confirms that he is staying right on Kang Ho's tail. Meanwhile, our hero completely ignores the shadow trailing him. Soon enough, he steps into a mystical, hidden shop. Inside, a seasoned beast woman gasps in pure shock, seeing the legendary Kang Ho walk through her doors. It has been 15 whole years. She clearly remembers his old companion, Munchie, and with her eyes wide with curiosity, she asks what kind of mythical creature he is taming this time. Kang Ho calmly states he is raising a silver-white fang, making the shopkeeper gasp. She instantly recognizes the divine bloodline of Siola. Kang Ho nods, but drops a massive lore bomb. Little Siola is not your average descendant. She is actually a super rare mutant subspecies. The veteran Beastmaster is absolutely stunned by this revelation. In her centuries of life, she has never once laid eyes on a mutated mythical beast. Overwhelmed with emotion, she bows deeply, thanking our main character for blessing her with such a legendary sight. With a warm smile, she begs Kang Ho to nurture Siola into an absolute powerhouse. Leaving the mystical shop behind, Kang Ho steps back onto the pavement. Little Siola peeks out, immediately realizing that this entire district is crawling with demi-humans. Her adorable eyes blink in confusion as she asks her master why everyone looks so magical. Kang Ho gently explains the massive dimensional rift. Countless fantasy races actually migrated to Earth from a parallel realm known as the Mu continent. The government literally built this specific neighborhood as a safe haven, letting these otherworldly beings vibe and keep their ancient cultures alive. He reveals that his ally, Mina, belongs to this sanctuary too. She hails from a magical bloodline that spends 80% of their lifespan trapped in the body of a child. But they are not alone. The legendary dwarves also crossed over from the Mu continent, and true to their fantasy roots, they are absolute gods at forging weapons. As they approach the roaring forges, the dwarven guildmaster, Smith, spots our hero from across the yard. He drops his hammer and sprints over, hyped to see his favorite client after years of silence. Smith practically drags Kang Ho into his fiery workshop, eagerly asking if his long journey was a massive success. Our main character just flashes a mysterious smile, dodging the question. Instead, he asks if the forge has been treating Smith well. The dwarf laughs, complaining that massive factions like the White Knight Guild and the Napa Guild are constantly spamming him with weapon orders. Cutting to the chase, Kang Ho casually mentions he needs a massive favor. He holds up his wrist, revealing a sleek, metallic bracelet. This is no ordinary piece of jewelry. It is a lethal weapon, known as an aura blade. He asks for an upgrade, even though the workshop is buried in high-tier guild requests. But Smith does not hesitate for a single second. He screams at his crew to ditch the guild orders instantly. For the dwarves, outfitting Kang Ho is the ultimate honor. The entire forge erupts. As every single blacksmith violently agrees with their boss, Kang Ho sweats, drops with a dry smile. These chaotic craftsmen have not changed one bit. They are just as fanatical as he remembers. While the forge burns hot inside, a heavily armed strike team of street thugs forms a perimeter outside, just itching to jump our hero for his legendary loot. Back inside, sparks fly as Smith expertly finishes modifying the metallic bracer. Wiping sweat from his brow, the dwarf promises it can now handle Kang Ho's monstrous mana flow. The maximum output has been cranked past the absolute limit. Smith begs him to test-fire the blade right there. But Kang Ho smirks, his eyes glowing with killing intent. He already knows some crash test dummies are waiting. Stepping out of the blazing forge, he wanders down a completely deserted alleyway. Instantly, the syndicate rats spring their trap, dropping from the rooftops. They lock him in a deadly circle. Our overpowered hero does not even flinch. He sensed their pathetic auras miles away. He just tilts his head, casually asking if this is the absolute best they could bring. The syndicate boss scoffs, utterly baffled that a powerless, non-awakened civilian is trying to act tough while surrounded. Kang Ho literally laughs out loud at the insult. Staring dead into the boss's soul, he asks if they relied on a cheap mana lens, because those bargain bin scouters cap out at exactly 100,000 mana points. The boss nods, but a sudden, icy wave of absolute terror washes over him. Kang Ho stands there completely unbothered, radiating pure chill despite being backed into a deadly corner. The gang leader smirks, knowing there are only 3 awakened in the entire nation, boasting a combat power over 100,000, and he personally knows every single one of them. So, in his arrogant mind, there is zero chance this random guy makes the cut. Sizing our boy up, the thug completely writes him off as absolute dead weight. Barking a brutal command, he unleashes his goons on our main character. Since they woke up and chose violence today, Kang Ho casually summons his blazing aura blade, ready to teach them a lethal lesson. The slaughter is about to be painfully one-sided. The frontliners charge in like mindless mobs, only to get instantly shredded into oblivion, leaving the leader's jaw straight on the floor. Sweating bullets, the boss desperately scans Kang Ho with his mana measuring lens. But just like before, the system violently glitches out, flashing a terrifying error. Immeasurable. Cold dread finally washes over the thug. The horrifying reality clicks that this absolute unit's combat power might actually shatter the 100,000 mark. Stuttering in pure panic, he demands to know our main character's true identity, but Kang Ho just answers with a devastating hook to the skull, completely shattering his high-tech scouter. With the entire squad knocked out cold on the pavement, Kang Ho scrolls through his phone and spots their ugly mugs dominating the national most wanted list. The bleeding leader is none other than Myung. Once a highly respected executive of the legendary White Knight Guild, he fell from grace and dove headfirst into the filthy criminal underworld. We are talking high-stakes robbery, brutal kidnappings, and cold-blooded murder. Kang Ho raises an eyebrow at the rap sheet, mockingly telling the trash mob he has been a very busy boy. Realizing he just picked a fight with a literal god of war, Myung's survival instincts kick into overdrive. Fighting is basically a death sentence, so he locks onto his only option, run. Pushing his mana to the absolute limit, Myung triggers his innate assassin skill. Shadows wrap around his body as he explodes upward, launching himself into the night sky. Retreating like a total coward, Myung smirks to himself. He is dead set on escaping, boasting an immaculate track record of never being caught once his stealth ability drops. But that smugness shatters in a heartbeat. A chilling whisper echoes right beside his ear in midair. It is Kang Ho, casually matching his absolute top speed. Our boy casually roasts his former White Knight glory, genuinely curious how a top-tier executive fumbled the bag so hard to become absolute street trash. Before Myung can even process the disrespect, Kang Ho meteor smashes him straight back down. The rogue executive craters into the concrete, his brain short-circuiting in pure, unadulterated terror. This dude literally sits in the top 50 of the entire nation, yet Kang Ho is tossing him around like a helpless toddler. The math is terrifying. Our main character has to be an absolute god-tier ranker. Desperately coping, Myung convinces himself he was just caught off guard. Sweating profusely, he draws his cursed dagger and drops into a deadly combat stance, vowing to go all out. He frantically scans the shadows, screaming for Kang Ho to show himself. Like a ghost, our boy materializes right behind him, delivering a disrespectful, earth-shattering slap that instantly disarms the assassin. Myung gets launched across the alleyway, while Kang Ho casually crushes the legendary blade into metallic dust. The fallen executive violently crash lands straight into a dumpster, exactly where trash belongs. To add absolute insult to injury, the raw kinetic force of the strike rips Myung's clothes right off, as the naked assassin wildly thrashes around in the garbage, panicking for his life. Kang Ho completely ignores him, admiring his newly forged weapon instead. He silently praises Smith's legendary craftsmanship, absolutely amazed by the buttery smooth mana efficiency coursing through the hilt. Strolling up to the human dumpster fire, Kang Ho sizes the old man up. Noting that Myung is pushing past 50, he realizes this thug survived the horrors of the Great War generation. Staring down at him, Kang Ho asks the million-dollar question. Why drag yourself through a bloody hellscape just to end up as a bottom-feeding criminal, trying to justify his villain era? Myung spits out a twisted confession. He violently hates this new era of peace. To his warped mind, a world without the sweet scent of fresh blood is agonizingly boring. He craves the chaotic symphony of battle and mountains of fresh corpses. Admitting the suffocating silence is driving him completely insane. Hearing this absolute psychobabble, Kang Ho does not even blink. He has seen this exact tragedy 1,000 times before. The endless slaughter of the Great War completely shattered the humanity of weak-minded soldiers, leaving them as hollow shells. Drunk on the adrenaline of infinite slaughter, these broken veterans physically cannot stop killing, inevitably rotting into superpowered criminals. They are nothing but bloodthirsty monsters birthed from the battlefield. They are society's dirty little secret, the dark stains the modern world desperately tries to sweep under the rug. Misreading Kang Ho's heavy silence, Myung flashes a deeply unhinged smile. He whispers to our main character, asking if the great warrior secretly craves the carnage too. But Kang Ho just stares down at him, his eyes darker than the midnight abyss. Cutting across the city, the camera pans to Guildmaster Jun Woo, chilling with his top disciple. The duo is deep in an intense conversation about our overpowered protagonist. The rookie scratches his head, mentioning that despite being a legendary war hero, Kang Ho gives off pure golden retriever energy and seems incredibly gentle. Jun Woo nearly chokes on his drink. He violently shakes his head, warning the kid that Kang Ho's calm face is a lethal trap. Underneath that chill vibe lies an apocalyptic temper, especially when absolute scumbags cross his path. Back in the grime of the alley, Kang Ho's silence finally breaks. Staring a hole through Myung, he coldly declares that if peace is too boring, he will personally deliver the pain the villain is begging for. Righteous fury blazing in his eyes, Kang Ho unleashes a devastating straight punch that sends the thug flying into the next zip code. Not stopping there, he follows up with a brutal facial reconstruction strike, permanently revoking his pretty boy privileges. Fast forward a few minutes, and Jun Woo's phone suddenly lights up with a video call. Blinking in surprise, Jun Woo eagerly answers the screen. Kang Ho casually tilts the camera to show Myung's battered, swollen face, asking the guildmaster if this garbage looks familiar. Jun Woo's eyes widen as pure rage takes over. He instantly recognizes the traitor, growling that this is the exact rat dragging the proud white knight name through the absolute mud. Gripping the phone, Jun Woo practically screams for their location. His blood is boiling, and he is ready to sprint over there and rip the traitor apart with his bare hands. Kang Ho completely matches his energy, promising to drop a pin on the GPS right away. He casually flexes that the entire criminal syndicate has already been gift-wrapped, absolutely flooring the guildmaster. Eavesdropping on the call, the horrifying truth finally clicks in Myung's broken brain. He just picked a fight with the legendary demonic Beast King. Stepping closer, Kang Ho demands answers. He interrogates the shivering villain about their stolen loot, asking if this stash house is their only base. Spitting up blood, Myung nods desperately, crying that a dead man has zero reasons to lie. He nervously admits their syndicate got completely wiped out by an infamous ghost known only as Phantom. Thanks to that epic heist, this miserable warehouse is all they have left. Intrigued, Kang Ho presses the blade closer, demanding intel on this mysterious phantom. Trembling, Myung reveals he is a legendary phantom thief who flexes on his victims by leaving an ominous black card behind at every single crime scene. Trembling on the ground, Myung begs the ultimate question. Now that he spilled every dirty secret, will the boss actually let him walk away breathing? Kang Ho hits him with a cold yes, but before the relief can even set in, he drives a brutal strike straight into Myung's chest, absolutely shattering his monocore into dust. Staring down at the broken man, the overpowered main character makes it crystal clear. Sparing his life wasn't an act of mercy, but a calculated punishment. With his core totally wrecked, Myung's days of flexing his awakened powers are permanently over. He is officially downgraded to a regular NPC. Agony rips through Myung as the horrific reality sets in, and he pathetically begs for a quick death rather than living as a powerless nobody. But Kang Ho feels zero pity. He coldly orders the trash to spend the rest of his pathetic life, remembering the mountains of blood and bone it took to build this peaceful era. Without looking back, the squad leaves the shattered thugs rotting in the pitch-black alleyway. Instantly switching back to peak dad mode, Kang Ho gently promises his little companion, Siola, that not all battlefield veterans are absolute scumbags like the guy they just left. To lighten the mood, he hypes up an epic home-cooked feast waiting for them. But there is a massive catch. The little fluffball has to survive a scrub down first. The second their front door clicks open, Siola hits the dash button, desperately trying to escape the dreaded bathtub. Our overpowered main character scoops her up with zero effort, chuckling because her fierce hatred for water is an exact copy-paste of her late mother's personality. But this isn't just tap water and bubble bath. Kang Ho casually drops a literal mythic tier item, the world tree fruit he snagged earlier, straight into the tub. Channeling his golden aura, he melts the legendary item down, infusing the perfectly heated water with an absolutely heavenly, fragrant energy. The little beast cautiously dips a single paw in, and her eyes instantly sparkle with pure bliss. Seeing her melt into the warmth puts a huge smile on Kang Ho's face. He gently dunks the rest of her tiny body into the glowing pool. For context, legendary beastmen warriors would literally kill just to smear a microscopic pinch of this exact fruit's peel onto their battle scars before stepping onto the front line. That tiny crumb alone would grant them god-tier defense and unbreakable skin. Yet here is Siola, literally swimming in and absorbing a whole, unpeeled mythic fruit. The sheer density of the magic causes the water to aggressively steam away, a crazy reaction that Kang Ho completely expected from such a broken item. Suddenly, a massive blue system window pops up. Siola just unlocked a brand new passive skill, Guardian of Nature. Scanning her updated holographic stats, Kang Ho realizes his little pet now possesses an insanely overpowered talent for drawing in natural life force. Her body can now soak up herbal buffs and elixirs at exactly 1.5 times the speed of any other divine beast in existence. Giving the freshly scrubbed fluffball some well-deserved head pats, our boy announces that it is finally time for the main event, dinner. He flexes his insane grocery haul to the rest of his magical roommates, finally revealing the absurdly rare loot that kept him away from home all day. As he preps the god-tier ingredients, the fairy queen hovers nervously, warning him that a regular kitchen stove won't even scratch these magical items. To fix that, Kang Ho casually pulls out a massive handful of volatile mana crystals, making the tiny queen absolutely lose her mind in panic. She screams that tossing that much raw energy into the hearth will literally nuke their entire house. Completely unfazed, he chucks the glowing rocks straight into the flames. The fairy braces for a catastrophic explosion, but instead of blowing them to the moon, Kang Ho instantly chokes out the blast using his overwhelming aura. Her jaw practically hits the floor as she watches him tame the raging inferno like it is absolutely nothing. With the fire stabilized, he roasts the mythic herbs down into a shimmering dust. Next, he extracts the mystical essence from the lunar salt he previously scored from Junwoo. Blending the glowing liquid with the powder, he kneads out a radiant dough, expertly crafting them into bite-sized, energy-packed dumplings. He playfully offers the finished masterpiece to the fairy queen, but she violently shakes her head, terrified that the sheer concentration of magic would literally cause her life force to overload and detonate her tiny body. Drooling over the aroma, the queen quickly realizes this god-tier snack was custom-built for their resident baby beast. Kang Ho nods, but strictly limits the little glutton to just a single piece, warning that the stat buffs are way too intense. The millisecond the flavor hits Siola's tongue, a tsunami of pure mana erupts through her tiny veins. She lets out a joyous squeak, completely addicted to the rush of sudden power. The system dings again. Her pathetic FF rank defense instantly spikes up to EE tier, and her physical form literally evolves, puffing up to twice her original size. The fairies watch the sudden glow-up in absolute shock. With dinner digested, the dynamic duo heads out into the frosty night to burn off that explosive energy. Watching her sprint through the snow, Kang Ho feels a massive wave of pride. Her ability to digest mythic items is off the charts, totally eclipsing her mother, Shua's, leveling speed. A heavy thought suddenly hits him. What if he had spoiled Shua with this kind of god-tier treatment back in her rookie days? The painful truth crashes over him like a tidal wave. He was a complete noob at raising a magical companion back then. Their entire existence was just an endless cycle of blood-soaked battles. He never let her eat until she was stuffed, and forced her to march even when sickness ravaged her body. A devastating storm of guilt rips through his heart, haunted by the agonizing what-ifs. If only he had been a better master, maybe her fate wouldn't have been so tragic. That devastating loss was the exact reason he spent years grinding knowledge on magical creatures. Looking at the snowy field, he makes a silent, unbreakable vow to shower this baby with all the love and luxury her mother never got. Snapping out of his dark thoughts, the oversized fluffball launches herself into the frosty air, crashing directly into his chest. Catching her, he feels the heavy, chunky weight of her new stats. A genuine bright smile lights up his face. Mission accomplished. His little beast is getting delightfully thick. He makes a bold promise to Siola. He swears to elevate her to the absolute peak, ensuring she lives a life dripping in unimaginable luxury. Once their training wraps up, Kang Ho suggests they swing by to grab Munchi. Flashback to 16 years ago. A solitary old man stumbled upon Munchi in the dead of winter. Buried in thick snow, the tiny furball had clearly been abandoned by his pack. Speaking with a gentle warmth, the elder urged the shivering cub to chase after his kind. A massive barbed wire fence was scheduled for construction, threatening to seal off the entire area forever. But staring down at this hopelessly vulnerable creature, a heavy burden weighed on the man's heart. He genuinely considered ending the cub's life right there, a dark mercy to spare him from a future of endless suffering. His grip tightened on his dagger, but the moment he prepared to strike, those massive, innocent eyes locked onto his soul. His resolve instantly shattered. Tossing the weapon aside, he pulled out a piece of beef jerky instead. The starving cub devoured the treat, happily licking the old man's nose in pure, unfiltered gratitude. The elder eventually walked away, but the stubborn little beast refused to budge from that exact spot. When the man finally returned, the cub launched himself into a heartwarming embrace. From that fateful day forward, the two became completely inseparable, and the tiny furball experienced a massive growth spurt. During one of their playful afternoons, the elder affectionately dubbed him Munchi, the ultimate ball of joy. They shared quiet, peaceful moments together. The old man would sit beneath the sky, pouring his soul out to his beastly companion. He confessed how the Great War had mercilessly ripped his family away, leaving him to wander this ruined world as a solitary ghost. To make matters worse, a lethal endemic disease from an entirely different dimension was slowly eating away at his life force. He admitted his initial struggle. Slaying a monster cub should have been instinctual for a hardened survivor, as they were practically sworn enemies. Yet, peering into the cub's eyes, he saw a reflection of his own tragic, lonely youth. That profound connection changed everything. Right in the middle of their bonding session, disaster struck. The elder clutched his chest in absolute agony, hacking up a terrifying fit of violent coughs. Panicking, Munchi sprinted off into the wild to hunt for food, desperately trying to repay the man who always provided for him. But upon his return, he found his savior collapsed on the unforgiving ground. Fear gripped the beast's heart. He knew his only sliver of hope lay at the bottom of the mountain, the exact forbidden zone the elder had strictly warned him to avoid. Throwing caution to the wind, the brave cub charged down the treacherous slopes. He had to secure help, no matter the cost. But the second his paws touched the military settlement, blaring alarms shattered the silence. Heavily armed soldiers instantly swarmed the perimeter. Paranoia took over, as they automatically assumed a monstrous mother was lurking nearby to protect her young. Weapons flashed as they unleashed a brutal assault. Munchi wasn't there to fight. His soul screamed for someone to save his dying friend. Stripped of a chance to explain, the poor cub was bombarded from every possible blind spot. He desperately dodged the lethal strikes, but the relentless barrage pushed him to the absolute brink. Internally, he was begging for a single shred of mercy. The overwhelming force finally pinned him down, and just as the executioner's blade was about to fall, Kang Ho crashed the scene. The arrogant guards barked at him to stand down, proudly claiming they had the beast completely under control, but Kang Ho coldly shut them down. His piercing gaze instantly recognized the truth. This was a harmless straggler, entirely separated from its pack. He ordered the armed squad to back off, declaring he would take over. One look at the battered cub's trembling form told him everything he needed to know. Channeling pure mana into the creature's broken body, he instantly revitalized him. Surging with new energy, Munchi frantically guided his savior up the mountain. Analyzing the unconscious elder, Kang Ho immediately identified the deadly Mu-continent plague. An overwhelming, toxic surge of foreign mana had dangerously anchored itself right inside his heart. Without skipping a beat, Kang Ho slammed his palm against the man's chest, flooding his system with purifying energy. He whispered to the fading survivor that he was incredibly blessed to have a fiercely brave companion. Miraculously, just moments later, the elder's eyes fluttered open. Munchi practically flew into his arms, and the two shared a deeply emotional reunion that could melt the coldest of hearts. Snapping back to the present day, we find a somber Munchi standing before a weathered grave. In his final moments on Earth, the old man had officially entrusted his beloved partner to Kang Ho's care. Ever since that devastating loss, the giant beast never missed a chance to pay his respects. At the sacred resting place, Kang Ho and Siola quietly arrived to comfort him. As the beast sheds silent tears, the heavens themselves open up to weep alongside him. Watching this beautiful loyalty, Kang Ho realizes the elder's spirit will never freeze in the afterlife, warmed eternally by Munchi's undying devotion. But the peaceful moment is brutally shattered. A sinister swarm of monstrous bees darkens the sky. Kang Ho instantly recognizes this terrifying new mutated species. His demonic beast eye flares to life, swiftly scanning the buzzing nightmare. The system reveals a chilling tactical advantage. These creatures operate under absolute, fanatical devotion to their queen. Worse yet, their combat power multiplies exponentially when they strike as a unified hive. A massive drone dives straight for Siola, but she doesn't flinch. She violently snatches it by the jaws, ruthlessly draining its demonic energy on the spot. In a desperate final counterattack, the beast thrusts its giant stinger at her. But instead of piercing flesh, the lethal weapon completely shatters on impact. Kang Ho's jaw drops for a split second. Then it clicks. The legendary World Tree Fruit Bath had massively buffed her physical defense to insane levels. Examining the broken shards, Kang Ho detects a potent, paralyzing venom. That highly toxic payload explained why these tiny horrors boasted such a terrifying rank. Realizing the lethal threat hovering above them, Kang Ho knows it is time to exterminate the hive. With a fiery look in his eyes, he vaults onto his giant tiger mount. Commanding Munchi to track the swarm across the freezing wasteland, Kang Ho lets out a sigh of relief. Thank goodness this frozen tundra is completely deserted. But a dark thought creeps into his mind. These demonic pests possess an apocalyptic appetite. They strip the earth bare, consuming forests, leveling mountains, and leaving nothing behind. They even feast on the rotting flesh of fallen monsters without a second thought. Driven by this endless hunger, these omnivorous nightmares are a ticking time bomb. The The moment their food supply dries up, human cities are next on the menu. Letting them live is not an option. Kang Ho grips his weapon, his eyes burning with absolute resolve. He needs to wipe them off the face of the earth before they trigger a bloody massacre. Suddenly, a massive, blood-red portal tears through the landscape. Kang Ho narrows his eyes, watching the monstrous swarm vanish into the swirling crimson abyss. Bingo. That portal leads straight to their breeding ground. But this is no ordinary dungeon. That ominous crimson glow screams danger. It is a brutal raid-class gate. Memories of his past struggles in a similar hellscape flash through his mind. But this time, he and Munchie are built different. Without a shred of fear, they dive straight into the bloody void. Instantly, a deafening buzz echoes through the air as a massive wave of stingers rushes them. Kang Ho detonates his mana, blasting the vanguard away with a shockwave of pure energy. Raid-class gates are a totally different breed of chaos. They are literal fragments of alien dimensions, completely detached from human reality. Because of this twisted ecosystem, hunters can score insanely rare loot here, treasures that simply do not exist in normal dungeons. But the trade-off is absolute hell. The abominations lurking inside these red zones are monstrously overpowered and out for blood. Right on cue, a massive shadow darkens the sky. Another swarm descends, but these beasts are absolute units, towering 3 times larger than the previous grunts. Their bodies radiate a suffocating, ultra-dense demonic aura. Drunk on aggression, the giant stingers lock onto Kang Ho and dive bomb with lethal speed. With a flash of steel, Kang Ho slices the lead monster clean in half. A quick glance at its system stats confirms his suspicion. These elite guards are on a whole different level. These colossal nightmares are clearly the royal guard of this hive. As the maddened swarm forms a deadly hurricane around him, Kang Ho triggers his sensory transfer skill. This top-tier ability links his nervous system directly with his demonic beast, syncing their raw physical power, mana flow, and battle instincts into one perfect killing machine. Propelled by explosive force, Kang Ho launches himself directly into the swarm. His blade dances through the air, carving a path of absolute carnage. Nearby, Siola lunges at a massive bee, snapping her jaws, but the slippery bug barely dodges her deadly bite. Kang Ho smirks, playfully mocking his companion. Maybe your eyes are bigger than your stomach, Siola. That snack is way too chunky for your tiny mouth, but the slaughter feels endless. No matter how many he butchers, the sky remains black with buzzing nightmares. Suddenly, a spine-chilling wave of demonic energy washes over him. His gaze snaps toward the colossal honeycomb in the distance. Vaulting off Munchie with gravity-defying grace, Kang Ho ignites his aura blade. A brilliant slash of pure destruction obliterates the entire blockade of giant bugs in a single heartbeat. Clearing the final wave of royal guards, he crashes straight into the core of the hive. This is the Holy Grail, the ultimate prize these freaks were dying to protect. The demonic pressure here is so dense, it practically drips from the hexagonal walls. Kang Ho violently shatters the barricade and breaches the inner sanctum, only to freeze in utter disbelief. Right in the middle of this hellish nest sits a bizarre, humanoid figure, chilling out like it owns the place. The terrifying horns, the suffocating miasma of death. Every instinct screams the truth into Kang Ho's mind. A true demon has finally shown its face, but instead of a booming villainous monologue, the demon is actively panicking. "Oh man, I am totally cooked," the entity mutters in despair. The plot twists violently. Humans are not supposed to understand the demonic tongue. The second the creature realizes Kang Ho comprehends his tragic whining, he frantically switches to a formal stance. Clearing his throat, he puffs out his chest. "I am Theo Kamagan, the former rank 4 absolute powerhouse of the underworld." Kang Ho tightens his grip on his blade, ready to unleash a lethal strike, when the self-proclaimed powerhouse instantly drops to his knees. "Please spare me. I despise violence. Fighting terrifying guys like you is a massive nope." Theo grovels, visibly shaking as he marvels at a human dominating an army of savage beasts. Kang Ho just stares, completely paralyzed by the sheer absurdity of the situation. Seeing this supposed nightmare lord acting like a terrified puppy, he slowly powers down his dazzling aura blade. This guy is a total anomaly. Every demon he slaughtered during the Great War was a merciless monster, but Theo actually has complex reasoning and a silver tongue. Memories of the past carnage flood his mind. Back then, demons were nothing but slaughter-crazed killing machines radiating pure malice. But this cowardly demon, he acts more human than most hunters, demanding answers. Kang Ho interrogates the pathetic creature. Still trembling on his knees, Theo solemnly confirms his demonic heritage. "So how did a high-ranking fiend end up in this bug-infested dump?" Theo sighs dramatically, wiping away a fake tear. "It is a painfully embarrassing and tragic tale, my friend." He explains how he got utterly clapped in an underworld ranking match. While fleeing for his life, he got tragically sucked into this twisted dungeon dimension. Kang Ho narrows his eyes, calling out the logic gap. Then why drag that colossal queen bee along while running for your life? He points his weapon toward the monstrous matriarch, looming in the shadows. Is that the big boss controlling this swarm? Catching the absolute murderous glint in Kang Ho's eyes, Theo panics, realizing his pet is 1 second away from execution. Waving his hands frantically, Theo swears he only deployed the swarm for basic recon. They are totally harmless, I promise. To prove his point, the demon gently pats the massive queen on her head like a docile puppy. Instantly, a blinding surge of demonic aura erupts, freezing the giant beast into a solid, lifeless fossil. Kang Ho drops his jaw, absolutely speechless at this insane twist of fate. Theo quickly clarifies his bizarre methods. By encasing the queen bee in that stone-like fossil state, it survives without devouring a single speck of pollen. Basically, it becomes a completely harmless statue. He desperately pleads with Kang Ho, confessing that this terrifying insect is actually his precious pet. He has nurtured it since it was just a tiny larva. Swearing on his life to take full responsibility, Theo tries to plead his case. But right in the middle of his emotional speech, Siola sinks her sharp little fangs straight into his leg. Instantly, she begins slurping up his terrifying demonic aura like it is a delicious smoothie. The little beast looks absolutely thrilled, sending shivers of pure terror down Theo's spine. He has never encountered a creature capable of treating pure dark mana as a midday snack. Watching this ridiculous scene, Kang Ho figures out the truth. This demon is not the real threat. The true looming catastrophe is the dark dimension he crawled out of. And since this trembling guy supposedly holds the 4th highest rank in the demon realm, he is a walking goldmine. Kang Ho decides right then and there, this demon is the perfect hostage to squeeze for answers. Still, our overpowered main character knows better than to underestimate a demonic heavyweight. In a blinding flash of speed, he closes the distance before Theo can even blink. Bam! Kang Ho delivers a precise strike directly to the demon's chest, casually mentioning that he is locking down his mana core as a little insurance policy. The impact sends Theo flying into the dirt, groaning in pain. The fallen demon tries to summon his powers, only to realize his vast ocean of dark energy has been completely shut off. Standing over him, Kang Ho flashes a dark glare, ordering him to play nice and follow along. One wrong move, and his head rolls. Trembling for his life, Theo nods frantically, questioning if all humans in this dimension are absolute monsters. Meanwhile, outside the swirling vortex of the dungeon gate, a massive crowd of top-tier guilds has assembled. Suddenly, a familiar face steps onto the chaotic scene. It is one of Junwoo's elite disciples, and his eyes immediately lock onto Kang Ho. But right next to them, the arrogant awakener, known as King, is throwing a massive tantrum. Strutting around like he owns the place, King demands to know if the legendary White Knight Guild is here to fight for the dungeon clearing rights. The newcomer completely blanks the arrogant superstar. Treating King like invisible air, he pivots straight toward Kang Ho, bowing deeply and paying his utmost respect. He warmly recalls their brief introduction over a video call with his master just the other day. He formally introduces himself as Lee Hyuk, revealing that he actually holds a massive title. He is none other than the Guildmaster of the White Knights. Kang Ho politely returns the deep bow, genuinely caught off guard by the bureaucratic nonsense of the modern era. He cannot believe people actually fight over dungeon clearing rights now. Hyuk just chuckles nervously, explaining that this is exactly how the chaotic hunter society operates these days. Off to the side, King's ego is literally shattering into a million pieces. Furious that a superstar like himself is being treated like background noise, he barks furiously at the guildmaster. He demands to know why a high-ranking official is bowing to some pathetic, non-awakened trash. But the moment the name Kang Ho leaves his lips, a terrifying realization strikes his brain like lightning. This is the legendary Beastmaster standing right in front of him. At that exact moment, Hyuk catches a glimpse of Kang Ho's lips curling into a soft smile. Pure dread washes over the guildmaster, as his master's warning echoes in his mind. Junwoo had been deadly serious when he gave him one golden rule. Never, ever trust that calm expression, because the second that man smiles, chaos is guaranteed. It means he has already decided to absolutely pulverize whoever is stupid enough to stand in his way. Cold sweat drips down Hyuk's face. Meanwhile, the foolish king remains completely oblivious to the reaper breathing down his neck. He has absolutely no idea that his life is about to flash before his eyes. Deep in his delusional mind, King sneers at the legend, convinced that this skinny guy is nothing but overhyped garbage. Greed takes the wheel. A ridiculously wild thought pops into his head. If he crushes the famous Beastmaster right here, he will instantly eclipse the 5 war heroes and become a living god. Bursting with misplaced confidence, King channels his aura and readies a devastating strike. Watching this idiot step up, Kang Ho just smiles wider and offers a disturbingly sincere thank you. Thinking his opponent has already surrendered, King laughs maniacally, shouting that he is the one who should be grateful for this stepping stone. He puts all his explosive power into a brutal right hook, aimed straight for the head, but the satisfying crunch of bone never comes. He hits nothing but empty air as the Beastmaster completely vanishes from his line of sight. Before King can even process the glitch in reality, Kang Ho grabs him by the collar and aggressively drags him straight toward the swirling vortex. With a chilling whisper, he reminds the flashy superstar of his cocky demands to enter the gate first. Wish granted. Using monstrous raw strength, Kang Ho literally launches the elite hunter into the terrifying abyss. He casually tells the screaming fool to go ahead and clear the place by himself. King violently smashes into the cold stone floor of the dungeon. His brain completely short-circuits. He has never been humiliated and tossed around like a rag doll in his entire shiny career. Stepping through the portal with terrifying grace, Kang Ho looks down at him. He sighs, stating that he honestly planned to mind his own business today. But since this punk practically begged for an absolute beatdown, he is happy to deliver. The floor shatters as Kang Ho rockets forward. Driven by pure desperation and rage, King scrambles to his feet, throwing everything he has into a desperate counterattack. But it is utterly useless. Kang Ho effortlessly palms the arrogant guy's face like a basketball. Bam! He violently craters the superstar's skull straight into the earth, coldly advising him to learn some humility. From the sidelines, the demon and the guildmaster watch the absolute slaughter in stunned silence. Theo nervously whispers that this flashy human is definitely going to get beaten to death. Wiping the sweat from his brow, Hugh strongly agrees. But amidst the total chaos, the guildmaster cannot help but stare at the trembling demon, wondering who the heck this weird horned dude even is. A few agonizing moments later, the battered superstar finally groans and blinks his eyes open. Kang Ho stands over him, casually critiquing the pathetic display. He admits the kid has decent reflexes, but his combat form is a sloppy, reckless mess. He tilts his head and asks who taught him such garbage martial arts. Coughing up dust, King proudly spits out that he never needed a teacher. He claims his godly, innate talent alone rocketed him straight to the prestigious S-class rank. Hearing this, the veteran warrior shakes his head. Having natural gifts is fantastic, but resting on raw talent does not put him at the top of the food chain. He firmly orders the bruised egomaniac to swallow his pride and live with his head bowed. The world is massive, and absolute monsters hiding in the shadows will eventually cross his path. If he refuses to refine his skills and learn from others right now, that so-called genius potential will hit a brick wall instantly. Kang Ho drops the ultimate truth bomb, warning him that hitting that invisible wall in a life-or-death battle will result in a very quick, very messy death. Reality finally punches King in the gut. With trembling lips, he asks if he has just been an arrogant frog in a tiny well this whole time. The master simply nods, telling him to go beg a real teacher for guidance. But right in the middle of this profound, life-changing mentorship, this absolute clown whips out his smartphone, throws up a peace sign, and tries to snap a bloody selfie for his social media. A massive vein pops on Kang Ho's forehead. Words are clearly useless on this brain-dead influencer. The only language this kid understands is extreme physical trauma. Panicking at the dark aura radiating from the veteran, King cries out, begging to snap just one more aesthetic photo, before his face gets completely rearranged into a modern art masterpiece. Amidst the hilarious sound of absolute beatdowns and shattered egos, the chaotic squad somehow manages to completely conquer the lethal dungeon. The internet absolutely lost its mind. Social media timelines were flooded with crazy conspiracy theories about the mysterious powerhouse, but nobody had a clue that Kang Ho was the man behind the mask. Meanwhile, right in Kang Ho's living room, a full-blown interrogation was going down to uncover the dark secrets of the demon realm. Theo, chilling like he did not have a care in the world, casually watched the weather outside. Under Kang Ho's intense glare, he spilled the truth. Apparently, he took a massive loss in a brutal clash against Baal, the undisputed #1 demon in existence. That crushing defeat stripped away a massive chunk of his demonic core. After getting swatted out of his dimension, he crash-landed straight into the human world. But as for what the other demons were doing on Earth, he was completely in the dark. However, he did drop one massive bombshell. Just a week before his unscheduled landing, rumors echoed through the underworld about entire territories violently twisting into dungeons. He was genuinely mind-blown to find out that these dark portals were directly tethered to the human dimension. Kang Ho's mind raced as the puzzle pieces finally clicked together. It had been over 50 years since the apocalyptic Great War, yet brand new nightmare species were suddenly spawning. Now, he knew exactly why. Earth was fatally linked to the demon realm. Sizing up his unexpected houseguest, Kang Ho demanded to know Theo's original power, ranking back in his prime. Right now, his aura was way too faint to read. Theo casually flexed his past glory. Before getting heavily weakened, he sat on the terrifying throne as the fourth strongest out of the 72 demonic monarchs. That meant this dude used to be an absolute walking disaster. Leaning back, Theo locked eyes with Kang Ho, claiming he was more of a lover than a fighter. But to satisfy the hunter's burning curiosity, he offered to unlock his sealed monocore for a quick demonstration. Knowing he needed solid answers, Kang Ho gave the green light. Instantly, a heavy, suffocating darkness flooded the room as Theo's demonic aura flared back to life. With a cocky smirk, Theo told him to witness true greatness. But beneath his calm exterior, Kang Ho was secretly charging a lethal strike, ready to obliterate the demon if he tried anything stupid. As the raw power peaked, Theo dramatically raised his hand. The shadows twisted, and decaying spirits clawed their way out of the floorboards. Kang Ho's eyes widened in pure shock. This guy was a literal necromancer. Theo proudly owned the title, bragging about weaving corpses into an unstoppable undead army. Sadly, Baal had trashed his entire collection. A thrilled grin crept across Kang Ho's face. This was insane. Necromancy was strictly a myth from fantasy novels. Not a single awakener in history had ever rolled an ability like this on Earth. While Theo was busy soaking up the spotlight, Siola suddenly pounced. She latched right onto his neck, thirsting for that delicious, spicy demon energy. A blood-curdling shriek ripped from Theo's throat. The tiny creature was violently vacuuming every last drop of his newly restored power. Through the agony, a terrifying thought hit the demon. Was this Kang Ho's master plan all along? Bingo. The ruthless hunter had basically set him up as an all-you-can-eat buffet to knock out two birds with one stone. But then, the unthinkable happened. As Siola drained the toxic corruption, a blinding light ignited within Theo's shattered mana hole. The dark void was miraculously transforming into crystal-clear, purified mana. Meanwhile, the feast triggered a massive evolution for Siola. Boom! A brand new fluffy tail burst into existence. Her attack stats instantly skyrocketed to D rank. Her defense mirrored the upgrade, also hitting D rank. Even crazier, she unlocked an epic new skill called Unfold. As for her shiny new second tail, its hidden power remained locked behind a mystery condition. Watching this, a memory flashed through Kang Ho's mind. Johanna, the fairy queen, had whispered legends of the legendary White Fang wielding 5 tails. A wave of realization hit him. Siola wasn't just growing. She was on the path to becoming a mythical beast with infinite potential. Just as the hype settled down, his phone shattered the silence. It was Chulbei, sounding dead serious, begging for a massive favor. The vibe instantly shifted to heavy dread. Another top-tier hunter had vanished without a trace in the brutal southern conflict zone. The victim was none other than Hound, the 30th-ranked powerhouse in all of South Korea. The situation was so catastrophic that the military had already pulled their troops off the front lines. Kang Ho's jaw dropped. If a beast like Hound got wiped out, what absolute nightmare was brewing down south? For context, the southern conflict zone was an absolute bloodbath. It swallowed the entire stretch from Daegu all the way down to the Busan ruins. To even step foot into that hellscape, you had to pass through the heavily fortified gates of Daejeon. The only reason Daejeon had not been reduced to ash was because of Levidan. They were one of the big 4 elite guilds, an absolute titan in the world of traditional magic. Wasting zero time, Kang Ho rode straight to the Daejeon barricades. The guards verified his legendary status and threw open the gates. But when they eyed his weird companion, Kang Ho didn't even blink. He smoothly lied to the troops, claiming the former Demon King was just his personal intern. Theo, completely unbothered by the heavy military presence, was happily zoning out while aggressively sucking on a lollipop. Kang Ho checked if his new intern needed a security badge, but the guard just shook his head. Word had already come down from the highest authority to let them pass with zero friction. Ever since the Grand War wrapped up, Kang Ho had brought absolute peace to the northern territories. The disaster-level monsters up there knew better than to act up. But the south? That was a lawless wasteland. It was a non-stop meat grinder where apocalyptic disaster species spawned like everyday pests. The entire region was locked in a brutal, never-ending turf war between nightmare creatures ripping each other to shreds. It honestly begged the ultimate question: why hadn't humanity just nuked these beasts off the map? Gearing up to dive into the heart of the abyss, Kang Ho vaulted effortlessly onto Mongsil's back, barking at Theo to hop on the mount. The demon was just lifting his foot to climb aboard when a severed monster's head suddenly hurtled through the air, violently crashing right at his feet. Welcome to the ultimate war zone. The descent into madness had officially begun. Taking in the rugged surroundings, Theo shoots Kang Ho a nostalgic grin, mentioning that this untamed territory totally mirrors his hometown. He points out that the glowing weeds under their boots are actually heat grass, a rare plant that blasts out insane waves of thermal energy in every single direction. Seriously, just a few patches of this stuff can mutate any wasteland into a boiling tropical jungle in a flash. Munchie and Siola are already dripping with sweat and Kang Ho totally gets their struggle since they have never dealt with this brutal humidity before. A few steps later, our main character suddenly stops in his tracks, signaling the crew to ditch their ride and push forward on foot. Out of nowhere, a blood-curdling shriek rips through the distant trees, sounding way too human. The squad instantly freezes on high alert, totally confused about what is out there, as the chaotic rumbling charges straight toward them. Seconds later, a massive stampede of terrifying monsters bursts through the brush. But get this, they are literally sprinting for their lives in the opposite direction. Peering through the thick dust cloud left by the fleeing beasts, the crew spots something absolutely insane. Some absolute menace is out there obliterating these monsters like they are made of wet paper. Kang Ho drops his jaw in pure disbelief. Wait a second. Chilby specifically swore that every single allied soldier had been fully evacuated from this hellish sector. But as the dust finally clears, Kang Ho realizes this unstoppable powerhouse looks suspiciously familiar. The guy is rocking bright blonde hair and a literal sweatband strapped across his forehead, boldly flashing the word, training. Plot twist of the century. This monster-slaying maniac is actually none other than King himself, and it is safe to say he has taken his solo grinding arc to a terrifying new level.